Okay, something you said before that was rather prescient was NDAs. Now, this next story actually features an NDA, and it's AEW. CM Punk, this only came out yesterday. Apparently this was from months ago, but this is the big news of the week. CM Punk and Ryan Nemeth. Now, I'm sorry, everybody, this is going to require some reading out on my behalf, but on my part. But Observer, the Wrestling Observer, wrote this. In a document obtained by Fightful, former AEW wrestler Ryan Nemeth filed a complaint with several executives in which he claimed he suffered abuse, harassment and threats while with the company being AEW, specifically from CM Punk, and that AEW didn't do anything about it. So, a timeline was provided by Nemeth in the complaint, in addition to claims of emails, texts, phone call logs, and other records to back up his statements. The main issue was AEW's lack of response to any of the incidents he allegedly had with Punk, and where he instead was ordered, quote, to verbally antagonise the now current WWE star on television. The report stated he was seeking damages on AEW's policies and financial consideration he claimed was offered to him in exchange for an NDA, following the timeline he provided, the information of which is below. The report also says the complaint was sent in September, assumed to be 2023, while he was still employed. Now, Nemeth has been appearing in TNA Wrestling as of late, with the report stating that he spoke to Tony Khan and others in AEW earlier this year. Nemeth wasn't interested in returning to AEW, despite Khan entertaining the idea. Now, here are some dates of incidents that Nemeth outlined for AEW in 2023. Nemeth, yes, unless otherwise.
Now, Nemeth is Dolph Ziggler.
No. This is the brother. This is the brother.
Oh, the brother. Yeah. This is Ryan. Now, what is Dolph's real name?
Nick
Nemeth. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the timeline. On April 16th, Nemeth claimed he contacted former chief legal officer, your favourite name, Mega Perek, with concerns he would be targeted by Punk.
Oh, Mega. She's right in there.
You know, there's a conspiracy theory now that no one knows why Mega Perek left AEW. She was like the number 2.
Yeah, she was.
Like in AEW under Tony Khan. And then day, she just upped and vanished like a fart in the wind in Shawshank Redemption.
She's just a name. Okay, let me ask you something. Where is she located? Jacksonville?
I figure so. I think she also did legal for the Jaguars, so yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, I think there might be a conspiracy theory revolving around the Punk situation, and she wasn't happy with anything, and maybe she left for that reason. I don't know. But nothing.
Well, she might have got. She could have. Well, she may have been replaced too.
Oh, she was replaced. I'll give you that name in a little bit when I find it. So anyway, Mega Perek with concerns that Ryan would be targeted by Punk. Then on June 21st, Nemeth claimed that Punk threatened him in a locker room, apparently due to Nemeth's infamous softest wrestler alive tweet. Also stating Perek, the Young Bucks...
Okay, now explain that to me. He did a tweet. Mm-hmm. Punk did?
No, Ryan Nemeth done a tweet directed at CM Punk calling him the softest wrestler alive.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hey, that's where the smart aleck remarks come from. The tweets now. Hey, what do you say about me on, used to be Twitter. What do you say about me on Twitter or on X? Blah, blah, blah. Explain that. And then that's where the heat starts.
Yeah, but it's exactly the same as if you just said it to your friends or something like that.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't think people see the same value.
It just spreads faster. Hey, did you see this? You see this? But anyway, and somebody tweeted CM Punk about it. That's how it started.
Yeah, so CM Punk, the first thing he did was confront Ryan for this confrontational insult that he made on him, I guess. Anyway, Ryan stated that Perek, the Young Bucks, and Tony Schiavone showed him empathy for the incident. Oh, empathy. He wasn't booked to wrestle for 2 months and said John Moxley supported him, claiming Moxley said the situation didn't sit right with him. Now, a month later, July 17th, Nemeth again contacted Perek about a lack of response to the alleged locker room incident and felt he had been silently fired due to speaking up, which Perek assured him wasn't the case. He was concerned his per-date contract wouldn't be renewed. Then on August 12th, Nemeth arrived in Greensboro, this is where it gets interesting, North Carolina for collision and was told to go home. An incident that was previously reported. The situation was initially said to be said by Pat Buck to be simple travel confusion before he later told Nemeth that Punk didn't want him there. Now, this was already at the time when CM Punk had the confrontation with Ryan that apparently, according to this timeline, Ryan started. And Punk was Collision was basically CM Punk's show, and then they were almost doing like a soft roster split at that time. After calling Perek again and requesting for AEW to do something, Nemeth said he was flown to a Wednesday, August 16th Dynamite and told to cut a promo in front of a live crowd where he would verbally antagonize Punk. There's a couple more things, but I'll leave that to you. Airing the old dirty laundry out in public is like Brett and Shawn Michaels, which I believe ended with them being friends afterwards.
So you reading that, and I'm not that familiar with it. I don't think most of the people even listening are. They may be. I don't know.
Ryan was very much a very small bit player in the whole CM Punk drama in the last few months. I mean, I don't
so
think
he's suing them because he had problems. And is he still? He's not still with the company, is he?
No, he's with TNA. I don't think he's suing them, but we'll get to the end.
Both of them, both Nemeth are with TNA.
They are.
Okay. Now this is a strange suit to even wade through because he's not with the company anymore. So he's suing for they didn't take care of his problem.
No. He's not suing them. This is just a list of he's just airing grievances and complaints.
Okay. They didn't. Okay. Well, so he's aired it. We've aired it.
Oh, there's more. There's more, though. Just before we get to more, though, what do you think of the idea as well, if you've got a problem with this guy, here's a live microphone, deal with it on TV? Did that ever happen in Memphis?
Oh, hell no. Actually, Memphis, when we were doing the show, they had the live censors, not necessarily in the studio, but listening to the show. And when something went down, pick it up. And it would come right back to the dressing room. A few times, Lawler, I think Lawler was the only one, because Lawler was he'd say what he wanted to say, but a lot of times he would have to be escorted back out there or told to go back out there and apologize for a few of the comments that he made. And I've seen him do about 2 of them, and I was there. And you can tell he didn't want to do it, but he had to do it. Otherwise, they're going to get in trouble with their TV station, and that was their bread and butter. So he had to go out there and do it. And when something was said on Memphis TV that upset people, if you were anywhere close to the switchboard, which, they had when you walked into the front door, the woman was sitting there, the receptionist, and she would answer all the calls. And she had a little switchboard there. When something was said that upset the people, if you were standing there, you could see all the lights go. Doot, 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 doot. They'd all light up. What? And she'd have to register and log all those calls about the saying that so and so made, and it would go right to the top. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't go right then, but it would go probably. By Sunday, it was on a Saturday, the show was, and it was on Sunday, it would be in the GM's office, and then they'd make the calls to Jerry Jarrett or to Lawler, and we can't have this, and they just raise hell.
There's a big difference between, I think, well, let's stick with Memphis, Lawler and Dundee, who didn't particularly get along, jealous of each other, but, there was animosity, but it wasn't volatile. Whereas something like Ryan Nemeth and CM Punk, they've already had a backstage confrontation. Ryan's feeling aggrieved in multiple ways, apparently. That's the kind of thing that could spill out into a real fight. I know it happened in ECW. I know it happened in the WWF, with Shawn and Brett, most famously. How would you deal with that then? So the next point here is Ryan then met up with both AEW Human Resources Department and Legal on the same day and was unsatisfied with their response. So even HR is now telling him, well, just go make a thing of it on live TV.
Yeah. Well, they didn't understand wrestling. I mean, when Tony Khan, which I think he took a lot of guts for him to form a company, but he just loves wrestling. But I think he got his public relations or his, what's that called?
HR, Human Resources.
HR. They didn't understand it either. So they're watching the show. They're learning as they go. Nobody set them down. Hey guys, this is the way it works. So this is what you got to watch out for. But so they're telling him, hey, just go and cut a promo on him and y'all have a match and y'all settle it. It should be good because it's real. But that's not the way it works. And somebody telling him to go and cut a promo on CM Punk, I mean, you don't do that either. You can't tell somebody, go out there and tell the truth. You don't go out there and tell them that. But you got to give them certain, bullet points. Say this and say this and say this and say this. And end up you want to match with them at the next pay-per-view or next week or 2 weeks from now or whatever. But who was delivering that line, I have no idea. Because I don't know who's booking AEW. I don't know. They say it's Tony, but Tony talks about, and the people talk about him getting help from everybody, which is probably true. But I mean, booking, people look at booking like, and we even do it here. That was stupid. This was stupid. And yeah, a lot of it, it won't work, But still, at least I've been there, and you've watched enough wrestling that you can tell if it's going to work or not. But regular fans, they don't think that deeply into it. They go, who in the hell come up with that idea? That was stupid as hell. Or they just don't give a crap about it and turn the TV off. That's what you're going to try to keep the people from doing. So even though this was a shoot between Ryan, am I saying his name right, Nemeth?
Well, some pronounce it Nemeth, some pronounce it Nemeth. I'm just sort of pronouncing it how it's spelled, really. So either way, I guess.
I'll say Nemeth. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, it had some tones of shoot in it, period. But you got to be careful putting that out there, because what if they went into the ring and one guy just knocked the other guy out and left him laying and left? That's a hell of a finish.
Hey, do you remember Hangman and CM Punk? Do you remember that one a couple of years ago?
Who was this?
Hangman Adam Page and CM Punk a couple of years ago, and Page went off the script and basically said no one liked him. Yeah. And then Punk did a response promo when Page couldn't respond or wasn't responding, and then just carried on. So basically just made Page look like an idiot. And then they didn't really do anything afterwards. They just sort of just buried it there and then moved on and then talked about each other occasionally on separate shows, and then it was just a weird situation all around it anyway.
Oh, that's a bad situation to be in, because as a promoter, you would like to reap the benefits of this. But if you don't book a match because you're afraid two guys are going to, break down on each other and have an actual shoot, if you can't tell how it's going to end and, regulate it and direct it, you're putting something out there. Even you don't even know how it's going to end. Anyway, well, hopefully that's behind them now. So. But okay, so Ryan Nemeth is not suing them. He's just getting the story out.
Well, here's something else that's interesting, just to finish this off. The report stated that Chris Peck, who I think ended up replacing Mega Perek, not related, because they've got different names, of AEW's legal team reached out to work out a settlement for its approximately 3 years' salary in exchange for a non-disclosure agreement following the submission of the timeline from Ryan. Nemeth said he was interested and wanted to discuss it more before being told it was pulled off the table for reasons that are unclear. He also claimed that Peck, who took over from Perek, who disappeared with no explanation, threatened to sue him about the timeline at one point. This is the timeline that Ryan has submitted that I've spoken to you about just now. And that Peck said he would be placed in an antagonistic position to Mega if the situation went to arbitration. So essentially, AEW then said they'd pay him off to keep his mouth shut. And then they decided not to.
I'm going to tell you.
NDAs.
With me, they say, okay, Dutch, listen. You got us, buddy. You got us. Listen, let's make a deal. You sign this NDA, and we'll give you a 3-year salary. You know what I'd say right off the bat?
Have you got a pen?
Yeah, no kidding. I'd say, I'll sign it. What is it? I don't care what it is. I'm getting money for nothing. I'll shut up and let it, and it'll die on its own. if we weren't talking about it today, to me, it's already dead. If we weren't talking about it right now, but I would assign that right now. Okay, how you going to pay me? Weekly? Yeah, that's a very, very weekly.
I can't imagine how much Ryan Nemeth was making from AEW. It cannot have been that much.
It don't
he's
matter.
Barely on TV anyway. But it's 3 years of not that much money, lump sum in your bank account, would be pretty good.
Okay, if somebody's going to write you a check for, say, $300,000, you going to say no? I want to pursue this. No, give me the money and I'll take a vacation. I'll disappear for like a year, and then we'll come back and I'll restart.
Bonkeroonies.
Wrestling never fails to amaze me. Some of the stuff these guys do. It's a dream. It's a dream. It's not a job. Remember.
But it's I don't know. I mean, it's not even that big of a deal. Reading through all that, although a lot of it's been made of it.
Well, it would be a big deal to him if he got the money.
But he didn't.
And that was
so now he's just got a list of grievances.
Okay, they made the deal with him before he went public with it. Or no? Or he went public, then they made the deal, then they pulled the offer.
Yeah, they did all the pulling of the offer, and then it's been made public yesterday. Even though all this happened months ago, it's only just been made public.
Okay, this is a revenge public airing of his grievances.
Yeah, but I'm still like, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, that's not the point. The point is the company didn't want to look bad. And they thought, and I don't know who made the decision to pull it off. Probably Tony himself. I don't blame him. But, you can't be held hostage to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes along and you give them a job. You just can't. You can't talk. Sometimes the wrestler sensibilities are not the greatest in the world. And I don't know if he got any legal advice or whatever, but apparently it didn't work. And I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I think this story is going to die at this point.